You ever walk into a room and stop, thinking, wait, why did I come in here? Yeah, we all do that sometimes. You laugh it off, blame it on being busy, or having a million things on your mind. But here's the thing, what if that foggy feeling doesn't go away? Not after a nap. Not after your morning coffee. Not even after a whole weekend of rest. What if feeling a little off becomes your normal? That's what people call brain fog. It's like your thoughts are moving through molasses. You're searching for words that used to pop right up. And you feel a little out of focus. Most of the time, it's harmless, stress, bad sleep, or dehydration. But sometimes, and I hate to say this, it can be your brain's way of waving a little red flag. A warning that something deeper might be going on. So today, let's talk about how to tell the difference. When it's just a passing cloud. And when it could be the first sign of something bigger, like dementia. So, brain fog. It's not like you wake up and forget your name. It's more like your brain just feels off. You're in a conversation, you know exactly what you want to say, but the word just won't come out. Or you're reading an email, and halfway through, you realize, you've been staring at the same sentence for 2 minutes and still have no idea what it says. Sometimes it's like walking through your day in slow motion. You're doing things, but it feels like you're doing them through a layer of fog. Everybody gets this now and then, after a bad night's sleep, after a long week, or when life's just too much. The tricky part is when that fog doesn't lift. When it sticks around for weeks or months. That's when it stops being just tired and starts being a sign your brain's trying to tell you something. Here's the thing, not all brain fog is bad news. Normal brain fog is like a cloud that drifts in and then moves on. You're tired, stressed, maybe dehydrated. You get a good night's sleep, drink some water, and the next day you feel clear again. Concerning brain fog is different. It doesn't pack up and leave. It hangs around for weeks, even months. And it starts to mess with your everyday life. It's forgetting the same step in a recipe you've made for years. It's losing your place in a conversation over and over again. It's walking into the grocery store and suddenly forgetting why you came in. And here's the most important part, if the fog is slowly getting thicker over time, and it's coming with other changes, like mood shifts, difficulty following steps, or getting lost in familiar places, that's when I tell people, hey, it's time to get this checked. Because that's the difference between a passing cloud and the first signs of a bigger storm. Before we jump to the scary stuff, let's be real, most brain fog has nothing to do with dementia. Sometimes, it's as simple as poor sleep, you're running on 4 hours and 3 cups of coffee. Stress, your mind's juggling 100 things at once. Dehydration, even being a little low on water, slows your brain down. Diet, too much sugar, not enough real food. Medications, prescriptions can make your thinking fuzzy. Post-illness, like after the flu or COVID, your brain can feel off for weeks. It's like your brain's an engine, if you give it bad fuel or not enough rest, it's not gonna run smoothly. I had a friend swear he was losing it. Turned out he'd been skipping breakfast and living on soda all day at work. 2 weeks of better meals and a water bottle in hand, and the fog was gone. So yeah, sometimes brain fog is just your body saying, I need better care, not a diagnosis. But, when you've tried the basics, sleep, water, food, and the fog's still there, that's when we need to start looking deeper. So here's where it gets serious. Most brain fog clears up once you fix the basics, sleep, stress, and hydration. But when it doesn't, that's when my antenna goes up. With dementia, the fog doesn't just hang around, it slowly gets thicker. And it's not just I feel off today. It's I can't follow a recipe I've made for 20 years. It's I get lost driving to my friend's house, the same one I've been visiting for decades. Sometimes, it shows up as struggling to find common words. Or forgetting the order of everyday tasks, like making coffee, but forgetting to add water before turning the machine on. And it's rarely just the fog. There are often other changes, mood shifts, more irritable or withdrawn. Trouble making decisions that used to be easy. Needing more help with things you used to handle alone. If you notice that kind of pattern, the fog is getting heavier, plus these other changes, it's not just getting older. It's your brain asking for help. That's the moment to see a doctor, not to get scared, but to figure out what's going on and what you can do about it. Let me tell you about Jim. He's a neighbor of mine, retired, a funny guy, always out in his garden. One Saturday, we're talking over the fence. He tells me he's heading to the store for tomatoes. 20 minutes later, I see him back in his driveway, empty-handed. I joked, "Hey, Jim, where are the tomatoes?" He laughs and says, oh. I got to the store, stood in the produce aisle. And I couldn't remember what I came for. So I just left. Now look, forgetting one thing isn't a big deal. We've all done it. But here's the part that made me pause. Jim told me this had been happening more and more. At the store, in conversations, even while cooking dinner, he'd just stop, mid-task, like someone hit the pause button in his brain. His wife noticed too. He was quieter, more withdrawn. And sometimes he'd start telling a story, then drift off halfway through, like he couldn't find the road back to his thoughts. That's not just everyday brain fog. That's a sign the fog might be coming from something deeper. So what's going on up there when brain fog is tied to dementia? Think of your brain like a city. You've got roads, bridges, traffic lights, all helping messages get from one place to another. In a healthy brain, those roads are smooth, the lights are working, and information moves fast. With dementia, some of those roads start breaking down. Plaques, tangles, and damage to nerve cells make it harder for signals to travel. It's like half the streets are under construction, and traffic is backed up everywhere. That's why you feel slow. Why is it harder to focus? Harder to find words, harder to keep track of what you're doing. And here's the thing, this doesn't happen overnight. It's gradual. Which means, if you spot the signs early, you have a better chance of slowing it down, to keep more of those brain roads open. Alright, so how do you know when brain fog might be more than just stress or a bad night's sleep? Here are a few red flags I tell people to watch for. It's getting worse over time, not better. What felt like an off week is now an off month. It's messing with daily life, forgetting steps and simple tasks you've done for years. Trouble finding common words, not just once in a while, but often enough that people notice. Getting lost in familiar places, even if it's just for a minute, that's not normal. Personality or mood changes, more irritable, withdrawn, or anxious without a clear reason. Difficulty following conversations, you're here physically, but mentally, you keep losing the thread. If you've got one of these now and then, don't panic, life happens. But if you've got 2, 3, or more, and they're sticking around for weeks, that's the time to check in with a doctor. Because here's the truth, catching it early gives you more options, more time, and more ways to protect your brain. So, what should you do if that brain fog just won't go away? First, don't panic. But don't ignore it either. Step 1, write it down. Seriously, keep a little notebook or use your phone. Jot down when the fog shows up, how long it lasts, and what was going on that day. Step 2, check the basics. Are you sleeping enough? Drinking enough water? Eating real meals, not just snacks and sugar? Moving your body every day, even just a walk. Step 3. If you've tried fixing those basics for a couple of weeks and nothing changes, make an appointment. Bring your notes. That way, your doctor sees the full picture, not just how you're feeling today. And if your fog is coming with other changes, like mood shifts, trouble with simple tasks, or getting lost in familiar places, don't wait. The sooner you know what's going on, the sooner you can take steps to slow it down. Remember, seeing a doctor early isn't about getting bad news. It's about getting a head start. Here's what I want you to remember: brain fog isn't always a big deal. Most of the time, it's your body asking for rest, water, or a little less stress. But sometimes, it's your brain whispering, "Hey, something's not right." And whispers are easier to hear than sirens. If you listen early, you give yourself the best chance to keep that fog from turning into something heavier. So pay attention. Notice the patterns. Take care of the basics. And if the fog sticks around, don't just wait for it to clear. Go find out why. Your brain is the control center for every single thing you do. Protecting it is never a waste of time. Because when the fog lifts, life looks sharper, brighter, and a whole lot more like you.